So with the release of Toy Story 4, we now have 4 films into the Toy Story franchise, and what I want to do in this video after I've done my review is to go through and rank all 4 Toy Story movies from the worst to the best, and make sure you let me know your rankings in the comments down below. It'll be interesting to see where each of you are going to place your movies, because it seems like with the Toy Story franchise it could really go in any kind of way, so make sure you let me know your list in the comments down below. And with all that said, let's get into the ranking. Coming in at number 4, we have Toy Story 4. Now, Toy Story 4, if you've seen my review, you guys will know that it's not my favourite movie in this franchise whatsoever. Toy Story 4 was a film I found immensely disappointing on so many different levels. I felt the story was incredibly weak for a film to justify its existence. I didn't personally feel like the story had enough going for it to really justify why we needed another Toy Story movie. I felt like the plot threads were all repeated from stuff we'd seen before. The movie really focuses on these new characters that I didn't really feel like were anywhere near as funny or engaging as the old characters who got completely sidelined in the movie. And also I feel like the villain was really poorly handled, and I didn't really like overall the journey the movie took to get to the ending. Granted, I like the ending of the movie, but I didn't actually like the entire journey we took in order to get to that ending. And I feel like to really come out and do a 4th Toy Story movie, like 9 years after Toy Story 3, and this was what we got, I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel underwhelmed. Coming in at number 3, we have Toy Story 2. Now, Toy Story 2, ironically, was actually my favourite as a kid, which is really funny. And then when I rewatched them a couple weeks ago in the run-up to Toy Story 4, it slipped all the way down to the bottom of the main trilogy. Toy Story 2 is a great film, don't get me wrong. Toy Story 2 is a fantastic film. I love this movie. I love the real exploration into Woody's backstory. You find out exactly where he came from, you find out what kind of product he actually was, and you see the rest of the toy line that he came from with Jessie, Bullseye, and the Prospector. That leads me into the Prospector, who I thought was a great villain for this franchise, a really awesome character who, granted, again, we have kind of seen beats of his character repeated in Toy Story 3, I still really loved what they did with him in this particular film. Also, the introduction of Al's Toy Barn was a really exciting idea, and what I really appreciated about Toy Story 2 as well, especially as an adult, is that I really appreciate how this movie really focuses on collector culture. And also, rather than just in the first movie where it was all about kids who were playing with their toys, this movie really shines a spotlight on collectors who are grown up and actually want to collect toys to put them on display and things like that. Kind of like what I've got going on here with my Funkos and things like that. I've got a couple statues up there on the higher shelves which you can't see. Things like that, which as an adult I personally really relate to. And even though I didn't quite see it that way as a kid when I originally watched these films, watching it again as an adult I found incredibly relative. And I still think Toy Story 2, while it is my least favourite of the main trilogy, I still think this is a fantastic film in its own right and a great member to the trilogy. Coming in at number 2, it was really difficult to say this, but it's Toy Story. I think that, my number 1, my number 2, they could flip either way depending on the day, but as of right now, recording this video, it's Toy Story. Now, Toy Story is a groundbreaking animated feature. There is no denying it. This film was an entirely new animation style. The CG, completely CG animation style was something that was never seen before back in 1995 when this movie premiered. There was nothing else like Toy Story. It was a revolutionary film. It was an incredibly heartfelt film. It was a funny film. And I think that Toy Story overall presented something that was unprecedented in the animation world. And that was this particular CG animation style, which, like I say, was groundbreaking. Also, being introduced to this cast for the first time, Tom Hanks as Woody, Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear, and all the rest of them. It was just such a great cast, and it's such a funny movie as well. I really enjoy a lot of the jokes in this film, especially, again, as an adult, rewatching these films. You really catch a lot more of the adult humour that's in these films, especially from Ham and Mr. Potato Head. Those characters in particular have a lot of jokes that I definitely didn't catch as a kid, but as an adult, they're really, really funny. And I feel like this movie just has all the best elements from all of the Toy Story movies just squeezed into this one film. And I think it's got a great little simple story about a guy and a little boy who loses his toys and them trying to find their way back to him, and also the form of Sid, the villain of the movie, who is this kind of tortured young kid who reflects his torture by torturing his own toys. It was a really interesting idea, and again, something that presented just a really cool outlook to the toy world. And I think that Toy Story overall as a movie, again, is revolutionary, and if this was my favourite Toy Story movie, or if it's your favourite Toy Story movie, it's completely understandable. And like I say, my 1 and 2, they could really flip, but as of right now, my number 2, it goes to Toy Story. And of course that leaves us with the number 1 spot, and that is of course Toy Story 3. Now, out of the rewatch that I did this week, or 2 weeks ago when I was rewatching all the Toy Story movies, Toy Story 3 was the one I walked away from with the highest opinion of, because Toy Story 3, you know, this movie came out a really long while after Toy Story 2. I think it was around 11 years, maybe even longer than that. It was a really long time since since Toy Story 2 before we got to Toy Story 3, and I think that Toy Story 3 does a really good job of progressing with the time, because unlike Toy Story 4, which basically picks up where Toy Story 3 kind of left off, Toy Story 4, or Toy Story 3, sorry, actually goes in real time, and we see that Andy has actually grown up, and this is a great aspect to the film because all of the kids who originally watched Toy Story when they were young have now grown up and are around Andy's age. So again, there's that relative side to it, to Toy Story 3, that really allowed for all audiences to be encapsulated by it, because kids will enjoy it because it's a great, fun, animated film, and all the original fans from the original movies will appreciate it because they feel like they relate to it on that way. What I really liked about Toy Story 3 as well was that it really felt like a prison break movie, having all the toys being shipped off to Sunnyside Daycare, which was a great little location within the series, and having to break out of it by devising all these plans, and when you actually see the escape, it's awesome. We also have that led by Lotso, who is the best villain in the franchise. Lotso is great. Like I say, I think he's a little bit similar to the Prospector in a way, but I still really enjoy his character a little bit more than that, because I think he had a bit more depth and a bit more development to him, because he did get a bit more screen time than the Prospector did, and I really like Ned Beatty voicing him. On top of all that, the ending to this film, the crescendo that eventually builds to, the raw emotion that comes out of that final scene of them in the incinerator is cinematic gold. It's absolute magic, and the way that that film is able to really pull at your heartstrings and make you cry is insane. The fact that you really feel like these toys are going to die, and the fact that, you know, it even makes you consider that toys can die, is absolutely insane. And even where the movie ends off, it ends in such a beautiful place with Andy passing the torch to Bonnie and him giving away his toys and accepting that he is moving on and the toys need to move on from Andy. It was a perfect ending to what was a perfect trilogy, and I think Toy Story 3 perfectly encapsulates everything I love about Toy Story inside of this one film, and that's why it's my number one. So there you have it, guys. That's my ranking of all 4 Toy Story movies. Like I said, make sure you let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about the Toy Story movies, and how would you rank them in your personal list? Because again, this is just my list. It's not going to be your list. Our lists will be different, so make sure you let me know your list in the comment section down below, and also make sure you stay tuned for more reviews and more awesome videos coming soon from the channel, and I hope to see you guys again next time.